You know what's fascinating? Right now, as you're reading these words, your brain is generating approximately 70,000 thoughts per day. 70,000. And here's the part that should shake you to your core. 95% of those thoughts are exactly the same as yesterday's thoughts. The same neural pathways firing. The same emotional signatures cascading through your body. The same biochemical cocktail flooding your cells. You're essentially running yesterday's software, expecting to download tomorrow's reality. And then you wonder why your life looks the same year after year. But here's where it gets interesting. Quantum physics, neuroscience, and psychology have converged on something absolutely revolutionary. Something that changes everything we thought we knew about personal transformation. It's not about positive thinking. It's not about vision boards or affirmations repeated mindlessly into a mirror. It's about something far more fundamental, far more powerful, and infinitely more real. It's about quantum shifting, the scientific principle that explains how you literally collapse the wave function of probability into the particle reality of your experience. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly create the life they desire, while others struggle endlessly, doing all the right things but never breaking through? Why does one person visualize their dream and watch it materialize within months, while another person does the same practices for years with zero results? The answer isn't luck. It isn't privilege. It isn't even action, though action plays a role. The answer is coherence. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what that means. Why you've been failing at transformation despite your best efforts, and how to align every layer of your being, quantum, neurological, emotional, and physical, to become the conscious architect of your reality. The quantum foundation. You are not separate from what you observe. Let's start with something that will fundamentally alter how you see yourself and your relationship to reality. In 1927, at the Fifth Solvay Conference, the greatest minds in physics gathered to discuss the implications of quantum mechanics. What they discovered, and what they've been validating ever since, is that reality at its most fundamental level doesn't exist in a fixed state until it's observed. Before observation, everything exists as a wave function, a field of infinite possibilities, all existing simultaneously in what's called superposition. The famous double-slit experiment proved this beyond doubt. When electrons are fired through two slits without being observed, they behave as waves, creating an interference pattern that proves they went through both slits simultaneously. But the moment you place a detector to observe which slit the electron goes through, the wave function collapses, and the electron behaves as a particle, going through only one slit. The act of observation changes physical reality. Now here's where most people make a critical error. They think, okay, so observation matters. I'll just observe what I want, visualize it, and it'll appear. But they're missing the entire depth of what observation means in quantum mechanics. It's not your eyes that collapse the wave function. It's not your conscious attention alone. It's your entire state of being. Your consciousness, yes, but also your subconscious programming, your emotional signature, your nervous system's baseline state, the electromagnetic field generated by your heart, the neurochemistry flooding your brain and body. All of it together forms what I call your quantum signature. And this signature is what collapses the infinite field of possibilities into your specific, experienced reality. You are not a separate observer looking at an objective reality out there. You are intimately entangled with the quantum field. Your internal state and external reality are not two separate things. They're one unified system, constantly influencing each other, constantly in dialogue. Every thought you think generates an electrical impulse in your brain. Every emotion you feel creates a magnetic field around your heart, measurable up to 10 feet away from your body. Every belief you hold shapes which neural networks strengthen and which atrophy. Every subconscious program running in the background determines which stimuli you notice and which you filter out. And here's the breathtaking part. The quantum field responds to all of it, not just to your wishes, not just to your conscious desires, to your entire being, conscious and subconscious, aligned and conflicted, hopeful and fearful. The neuroscience of identity, why you keep recreating the same reality. Now let's talk about your brain, because this is where quantum possibility meets biological reality. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons, and these neurons are constantly forming and reforming connections based on your experiences, thoughts, and emotions. Every time you have a thought, your neurons fire in a specific pattern. Every time you feel an emotion, a cascade of neuropeptides, chemical messengers, floods your body, binding to receptor sites on your cells. Here's what's crucial. Your cells become addicted to these emotional signatures. Dr. Candace Pert's groundbreaking research on neuropeptides revealed that your cells actually have receptor sites for specific emotional chemicals. When you repeatedly experience the same emotions, anxiety, unworthiness, frustration, fear, your cells develop more receptor sites for those chemicals. Your cells literally begin to crave those emotional states. This is why someone can consciously want abundance, but feel uncomfortable when money starts flowing. Why someone can desire love, but sabotage healthy relationships. Why you can set goals, but unconsciously undermine your own progress. Your cells are addicted to being you, the current version of you, with all its familiar emotional patterns. And here's where it connects to quantum physics. Your habitual emotional states generate consistent electromagnetic frequencies. These frequencies interact with the quantum field, essentially broadcasting a signal that says, "Give me more experiences that match this frequency." If you're habitually in a state of lack, even if you're consciously visualizing abundance, your electromagnetic signature is broadcasting lack. And the quantum field, which responds to frequency, not to words or wishes, delivers more experiences of lack. The field doesn't judge. It doesn't reward or punish. It simply matches. This is why affirmations fail for most people. You're standing in front of a mirror saying, "I am abundant, but your body is flooded with the biochemistry of stress. Your heart is generating the electromagnetic frequency of anxiety. Your subconscious is running programs of unworthiness installed when you were 7 years old. You're trying to tune into a radio station at 105.3 FM while your internal radio is locked on 88.9 FM. You're sending out a contradictory signal, and the quantum field receives the stronger, more consistent signal. The one coming from your subconscious, from your body, from your habitual emotional state. The psychology of coherence. Bridging the conscious-subconscious divide. Let me share something that might be difficult to hear, but it's essential. Your conscious mind. The part of you that sets goals and makes decisions and reads books like this, controls only about 5% of your daily behavior and outcomes. 5%. The other 95%? That's your subconscious mind, the vast repository of every experience you've had, every belief you've absorbed, every conclusion you drew about yourself and the world, especially between birth and age 7, when your brain was predominantly in theta wave state, essentially a hypnotic state of pure absorption. Your subconscious doesn't think. It doesn't reason. It simply runs programs. And here's the key. These programs were installed when you had limited understanding, when you interpreted events through a child's lens of egocentrism, believing everything that happened was somehow about you, somehow your fault, somehow evidence of your inadequacy or the world's danger. Maybe you heard your parents fighting about money and concluded, money causes pain and conflict. It's safer to not have too much. Maybe you were criticized when you expressed excitement and learned, it's not safe to shine. Dim your light to be accepted. Maybe you experienced rejection and decided, I'm not enough. I have to earn love through achievement and perfection. These conclusions became programs, and these programs run automatically, beneath conscious awareness, shaping your perceptions, driving your behaviors, generating your emotional responses. And remember, the quantum field responds to your total signal, not just your conscious intentions. This is why goal setting alone doesn't create transformation. This is why someone can have crystal clear vision of what they want, but unconsciously sabotage every opportunity. Their conscious and subconscious minds are broadcasting different frequencies, creating what I call quantum static, interference patterns that prevent clear manifestation. True quantum shifting requires coherence, alignment between your conscious intentions, your subconscious programming, your emotional state, your nervous system's baseline, and your physical body's cellular memory. When all these layers are aligned, broadcasting the same frequency, you create what's called heart-brain coherence, a measurable state where your heart's electromagnetic field and your brain's neural activity synchronize. Research at the HeartMath Institute has shown that this coherent state enhances intuition, accelerates healing, and, here's the quantum connection, appears to influence probability and randomness in measurable ways. In coherence, you become a clear, powerful broadcaster. The quantum field receives an unambiguous signal, and reality begins to reorganize itself to match that signal. Why you've been failing. The 5 critical mistakes. Now let's get brutally honest about why your previous attempts at transformation haven't worked. Because understanding what doesn't work is just as important as understanding what does. Mistake number 1. You're trying to manifest from a state of lack. Every time you engage in manifestation practices while feeling the absence of what you desire, you're reinforcing the very frequency of lack. The universe doesn't hear your words. It feels your frequency. When you say, I want abundance while feeling broke and desperate, the dominant signal is desperation. When you visualize your ideal relationship while feeling lonely and incomplete, the dominant signal is incompleteness. The quantum field matches your frequency, not your intentions. This is why detachment is so crucial. Not apathy, detachment. The ability to desire something while simultaneously feeling complete without it. To hold a vision while being at peace with what is. This creates a coherent signal that says, I'm already whole, and I'm calling in this experience as an expression of my wholeness, not as a solution to my lack. Mistake number 2. You're trying to change your life while remaining the same person. Here's a truth that might sting. Your current life is a perfect match for your current identity. Your income, your relationships, your health, your opportunities, they're all reflections of who you believe yourself to be at the deepest level. You cannot create a new life from an old identity. If you see yourself as someone who struggles financially, you'll find ways to struggle even when opportunities arise. If you identify as someone who gets hurt in relationships, you'll unconsciously choose partners who confirm that identity. If your self-concept is built on being a victim of circumstances, you'll interpret every situation through that lens, finding evidence everywhere that life happens to you rather than through you. Quantum shifting isn't about getting different things. It's about becoming a different person. someone for whom those things are natural, normal, expected. The person who earns $10 million a year thinks differently, feels differently, makes different assumptions, and takes different actions than the person who earns 50,000. It's not about working harder. It's about being someone for whom 10 million is a natural expression of their value, their skills, their contribution. And here's what's beautiful. When you truly become that person, not just intellectually, but cellularly, emotionally, neurologically, the money, the opportunities, the results follow inevitably. Because you're now broadcasting a frequency that matches that reality. Mistake number 3. You're using your current reality as evidence of what's possible. Your brain is wired to seek patterns and predict the future based on the past. It's a survival mechanism. The problem is, this mechanism keeps you locked in a loop of recreating the same reality. You look at your current bank account and feel anxiety. That anxiety generates stress hormones. Those hormones trigger familiar thought patterns. Those thoughts create actions consistent with struggle. Those actions produce results that match your expectation. And then you look at those results and think, see? This is just how it is for me. You're using the past to create the future, then calling that future inevitable. But in quantum physics, the past doesn't determine the future. Your present state of consciousness does. Every moment is a new opportunity to collapse a different probability into reality. The field doesn't care what happened yesterday. It responds to what you're being right now. This is why living from the future, embodying the emotional, mental, and physical state of your desired reality before it manifests, is so powerful. You're no longer letting past results dictate present frequency. You're choosing a frequency that matches your desired future, and you're holding that frequency consistently enough that the quantum field has no choice but to reorganize matter to match it. Mistake number 4. You're treating manifestation as a technique rather than a state of being. Most people approach manifestation like a vending machine. Insert the right combination of visualizations and affirmations, press the button, receive the result. But quantum shifting isn't something you do for 15 minutes in the morning. It's something you are consistently throughout your day. It's the thoughts you think while stuck in traffic. It's the emotional state you return to when triggered. It's the assumptions you make about yourself and the world when no one's watching. It's the stories you tell yourself about why things are happening. Your manifestation practice isn't the 20 minutes you spend meditating. It's the 23 hours and 40 minutes you spend afterward. Because the quantum field is always responding, always matching, always delivering experiences that align with your predominant frequency. This is why conscious awareness throughout the day is essential. Catching yourself in old thought patterns. Noticing when you've slipped into familiar emotional states. Choosing, again and again, to return to the frequency of your desired reality, even when external circumstances seem to contradict it. Especially when external circumstances seem to contradict it. Mistake number 5. You're waiting for evidence before you believe. This is perhaps the most insidious trap. You tell yourself, I'll feel abundant when the money shows up. I'll feel confident when I achieve the goal. I'll feel worthy when someone loves me. But quantum mechanics works in exactly the opposite direction. The external reality is always lagging behind your internal shift. Always. Because physical reality is dense, slow-moving. It takes time for the quantum field's response to materialize in three-dimensional form. If you're waiting for external validation before you shift internally, you'll wait forever. Because you're requiring the old reality, created from your old frequency, to give you permission to adopt a new frequency. You're asking the past to authorize the future. It doesn't work that way. You have to claim the feeling first, embody the state first, become the person first. Then, and only then, does reality reorganize itself to match. This requires tremendous faith, not in some external deity, but in the principles of quantum physics. Faith that the field responds to frequency. Faith that your internal state creates your external experience. Faith that when you truly shift, not superficially, but at the quantum level, reality has no choice but to shift with you. The science of becoming. How to create quantum coherence. So, how do you actually do this? How do you create the kind of deep, cellular, quantum-level coherence that transforms reality? It's not a single technique. It's a multi-layered process that addresses every level of your being: quantum, neurological, emotional, and physical. Layer 1. Subconscious reprogramming. Remember, your subconscious runs 95% of your life. You cannot create sustainable transformation while limiting beliefs and childhood programs continue running in the background. The theta brainwave state, the same state your brain was in during childhood when these programs were installed, is the gateway to subconscious reprogramming. In theta, which you naturally enter during meditation, just before sleep, and just after waking, your subconscious is highly suggestible. This is when you can install new programs. But here's what's critical. You can't just repeat positive affirmations. Your subconscious will reject statements that contradict its current programming. If you have deep beliefs about unworthiness and you try to install "I am worthy," your subconscious essentially says, "No, you're not. I have decades of evidence to the contrary." Instead, you need to use questions and bridging statements that create cognitive openings. What would it feel like to be worthy? What if I could discover my inherent value? I'm willing to consider that I might be more capable than I've believed. These gentler approaches bypass the subconscious's defense mechanisms, creating space for new neural pathways to form. Hypnotherapy, EMDR, EFT tapping, and certain forms of meditation are all powerful tools for accessing and reprogramming the subconscious. The key is consistency. You're not overriding decades of programming in one session. You're gradually, persistently creating new neural networks until they become stronger than the old ones. Layer 2. Emotional recalibration. Your emotions are not random. They're the language of the body, responding to your thoughts and broadcasting your frequency to the field. If you want to shift your reality, you must shift your emotional baseline, the emotional state you return to most often, the one that feels most familiar, most like home. Here's a practice that's been validated by neuroscience research. Spend time every day, minimum 15 minutes, in the elevated emotions of your desired reality. Not thinking about your desires, but feeling the emotions as if they've already manifested. If you desire financial abundance, what emotions would you feel if you checked your bank account right now and saw the number you desire? Relief? Freedom? Excitement? Gratitude? Joy? Peace? Feel those emotions now. Generate them in your body. Don't wait for the money to give you permission to feel them. You're not lying to yourself. You're tuning your frequency. Your body doesn't know the difference between an emotion generated by external circumstances and an emotion generated internally through consciousness. The biochemistry is identical. The electromagnetic frequency is identical. The signal to the quantum field is identical. By rehearsing these elevated emotions daily, you're accomplishing 3 things simultaneously. First, you're creating new neural pathways associated with these emotional states, making them more accessible. Second, you're weaning your cells off their addiction to stress hormones and recalibrating them to elevated emotional chemistry. Third, you're broadcasting a clear, consistent frequency to the quantum field, one that matches your desired reality. Over time, and this typically takes 60 to 90 days of consistent practice, these elevated emotions begin to feel more natural than your old baseline. That's when you know the shift is happening at a quantum level. Layer 3. Present moment awareness. Here's something most people miss. Transformation doesn't happen in the future. It happens right now, in this moment. Every moment, you're at a choice point. You can react from old programming, or you can respond from conscious awareness. You can interpret events through the lens of your old story, or you can choose a new interpretation that aligns with your desired reality. This requires what I call quantum mindfulness, the practice of catching yourself throughout the day in thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that don't match your desired frequency, and consciously choosing different ones. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Old programming might generate anger, victimhood, judgment. But in that moment, you have a choice. You can notice the anger arising and consciously choose a different response. That person is having their own experience. I choose peace. I remain in my frequency of abundance and ease. This isn't spiritual bypassing, pretending negative emotions don't exist. It's conscious alchemy, acknowledging what arises, then choosing what serves your highest vision. Every time you make this choice, every single time, you're strengthening new neural pathways and weakening old ones. You're proving to your subconscious that you're serious about this transformation. You're demonstrating that you're no longer willing to be hijacked by circumstantial reactions. And the quantum field notices. It registers every moment you choose your desired frequency over your habitual one, and it begins to deliver more experiences that match your new choice. Layer 4. Identity architecture. Who are you becoming? Not who do you want to be someday. Who are you becoming right now, with each choice, each thought, each action? Your identity is not fixed. It's fluid, constantly being constructed through the stories you tell about yourself, the meaning you assign to your experiences, the beliefs you hold about your capabilities and limitations. Most people have an identity built on past evidence. I'm someone who struggles with money. I'm not good at relationships. I'm not creative. I'm not confident. These identity statements become self-fulfilling prophecies because they determine which possibilities you can perceive and which actions you can take. Quantum shifting requires consciously constructing a new identity, not based on past evidence, but on the person you're choosing to become. Start asking different questions. Who would I need to be to naturally create this reality? What would that person believe about themselves? How would they think? How would they feel? What would they assume about life and their place in it? Then, and this is crucial, start being that person now. Not when the results show up. Now. Walk as that person would walk. Speak as they would speak. Make decisions as they would make them. Dress as they would dress. Spend your time as they would spend it. Treat yourself as they would treat themselves. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is quantum identity installation. You're literally rewiring your brain to embody a new self-concept. And as you do, your energy shifts, your frequency changes, your electromagnetic signature broadcasts something new. And the quantum field, always matching, always responding, begins delivering experiences that align with this new identity. Layer 5. Coherent action. Here's where quantum shifting meets three-dimensional reality, inspired action. Notice I said inspired, not forced, not desperate, not coming from fear or lack. When you're in true coherence, when your conscious intentions, subconscious programs, emotional state, and identity are all aligned, action becomes effortless. Ideas flow. Opportunities appear. The right people show up at the right time. Synchronicities multiply. This is because you're no longer fighting against yourself. All your energy is moving in the same direction. You're not sabotaging yourself with subconscious resistance or conflicting frequencies. The actions you take from this place feel different. They feel aligned. Even when they're challenging, there's a sense of rightness, of flow, of being supported by something larger than yourself. And here's what's remarkable. The outcomes of these coherent actions are often exponentially greater than the effort invested. Because you're not just acting, you're acting from a frequency that's already attracting matching opportunities. This is how people seem to get lucky, how they're in the right place at the right time, how they meet the perfect person who connects them to the perfect opportunity. It's not luck, it's coherence, translating into three-dimensional synchronicity. The integration, living as a quantum creator. Let me bring all of this together into a practical framework you can use starting today. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you engage with external reality, spend 30 minutes constructing your internal reality. Begin with 5 minutes of breath work to shift into coherence. Slow, deep breaths. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, taking you out of survival mode and into creation mode. Then, for 10 minutes, enter the quantum field through meditation. Close your eyes, feel the space around you. Recognize that this space isn't empty. It's filled with infinite possibility, all existing simultaneously. Feel yourself as consciousness, not separate from this field, but one with it. From this connected state, for the next 15 minutes, rehearse your desired reality. Not by visualizing it like watching a movie, but by becoming it. Step into the body of your future self. See through their eyes. Feel their emotions. Think their thoughts. Make their assumptions. What does your future self assume about life? About their capabilities? About what's normal and expected for them? Embody that. Generate those emotions in your body. Feel the gratitude, joy, freedom, peace, excitement. Whatever elevated emotions match your desired reality. Stay in this embodied state until it feels real. Until your body begins to respond as if it's actually happening. Until tears come, or laughter bubbles up, or peace settles over you like a blanket. This is your daily recalibration, your frequency reset, your quantum tuning. Then, as you move through your day, practice quantum mindfulness. Every time you notice yourself slipping into old patterns, old thoughts, old emotions, old behaviors, pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Consciously choose to return to your desired frequency. Ask yourself throughout the day, what would my future self do right now? How would they respond to this? What would they think about this situation? Then do that. Be that. Choose that. In the evening, before sleep, do a brief review. Not with judgment, but with awareness. Where did you hold your frequency today? Where did you slip into old patterns? What did you learn about your subconscious programming? What opportunities arose? What synchronicities appeared? Then, as you drift toward sleep and your brain naturally enters theta, plant seeds for tomorrow. Use gentle, present tense statements. I am becoming someone who easily creates abundance. I am learning to trust myself deeply. I am discovering my unlimited potential. Your subconscious will work on these statements throughout the night, building new neural pathways while you sleep. This isn't a quick fix, it's a complete lifestyle restructuring. But here's what I promise you. If you do this consistently for 90 days, and I mean truly consistently, not occasionally when you remember, your life will change so dramatically that you'll barely recognize it. Not because you're trying to force change, but because you've shifted at the quantum level. You've changed your frequency. You've reprogrammed your subconscious. You've installed a new identity. You've created coherence. And the quantum field, responding to your new signal, has reorganized reality to match it. Addressing the obstacles. What to expect on the journey. Now, I need to prepare you for something that catches most people off guard. The healing crisis. When you begin this process of quantum shifting, you're essentially declaring to the universe, "I'm ready for something new." And the universe, in its wisdom, responds by bringing up everything that's not aligned with that new frequency. Old emotions surface. Limiting beliefs you thought you'd dealt with come roaring back. Relationships that no longer match your new frequency begin to fall away. Situations that were hidden in the shadows suddenly demand attention. This isn't evidence that the process isn't working. It's evidence that it is. You can't build a new structure on a faulty foundation. The quantum field is essentially clearing out everything that's incompatible with your new frequency. It's showing you what needs to be healed, released, transformed. Most people interpret this clearing phase as things getting worse. They panic. They think, "I must be doing something wrong." And they abandon the process right before the breakthrough. Don't do this. When old patterns surface, when challenges intensify, when you feel like you're moving backward, this is the time to double down on your practice. This is when you prove to yourself and the universe that you're committed. See these obstacles as the universe's way of asking, "Are you sure? Are you really ready to let go of the old and step into the new?" Your job is to keep answering, "Yes, I am ready. I am committed. I am becoming someone new." Also, expect resistance from your external environment. When you change, the people around you feel it. Some will celebrate your transformation. Others will unconsciously try to pull you back to the old version of you, the one they're familiar with, the one that didn't trigger their own fears and limitations. Relationships built on mutual woundedness often can't survive one person's healing. Friendships rooted in complaining and victimhood dissolve when you stop participating in those patterns. Even family members may feel threatened by your growth. This is painful, but it's also necessary. You're not responsible for managing other people's discomfort with your transformation. Your responsibility is to your own evolution, to your own alignment, to your own frequency. Some relationships will evolve with you. Others will fall away. And new ones, aligned with your new frequency, will emerge. Trust this process. The quantum field is rearranging your entire life to match your new signal. Sometimes that means clearing space before filling it with new possibilities. The neuroscience of patience. Why timing matters. Here's something critical about neurological change. It takes approximately 66 days to form a new habit, but it takes a minimum of 3 to 6 months to fundamentally rewire your brain's default mode network, the neural circuits that determine your baseline state of being. This is why so many people fail at transformation. They try a new practice for a few weeks, don't see dramatic external results, and quit. But internal transformation precedes external manifestation. Always. Your brain needs time to prune old neural connections and strengthen new ones. Your cells need time to shed their addiction to familiar emotions and recalibrate to new chemistry. Your subconscious needs time to integrate new programming and release old patterns. The quantum field needs time to orchestrate the infinite synchronicities required to manifest your new reality in physical form. This isn't about the universe testing your patience. It's about respecting the biological and quantum mechanics of transformation. Think of it like this. If you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it consistently, ensure it has sunlight, trust the process, and allow nature to work its magic underground where you can't see it. Your transformation is the same. The most profound changes are happening beneath the surface of conscious awareness, in your neural networks, in your cellular memory, in your electromagnetic field, in your quantum signature. By the time you see external evidence, the internal shift has already occurred. So, commit to 90 days minimum. 3 months of consistent daily practice. No skipping, no half-hearted attempts. No, I'll do it when I feel like it. Treat this like your life depends on it, because in a very real sense, it does. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your consciousness, and the quality of your consciousness is determined by the consistency of your practice. The quantum community. Why you can't do this alone. Here's something I've observed over decades of working with people in transformation. Nobody sustains significant change in isolation. Consciousness is contagious. Frequency is infectious. When you surround yourself with people who are also consciously evolving, who are also doing this deep work, who are also committed to quantum shifting, something remarkable happens. Your combined electromagnetic fields create what's called field coherence, a phenomenon where individual frequencies synchronize and amplify each other. This isn't metaphor. It's measurable physics. Studies at HeartMath Institute have shown that when groups of people enter coherent states together, they create a measurable field effect that can be detected by sensitive instruments. And people within that field report enhanced intuition, accelerated healing, and increased synchronicity. In other words, transformation accelerates in community. This is why I'm inviting you to join a community of conscious creators, people who understand these principles, who are applying them daily, who will support you through the challenging phases and celebrate your breakthroughs. But not just any community, a coherent community. People who are committed to growth, not just talking about it. People who will hold you accountable to your highest vision, not enable your excuses. People who vibrate at the frequency you're moving toward, not the one you're leaving behind. In the comments, I want you to share one word, just one word, that represents the frequency you're choosing to embody. Not where you are now, but where you're going. Is it abundance, peace, freedom, love, power, joy, courage, clarity? Choose your word. Share it in the comments. Let it be your declaration to the universe and to this community. This is who I'm becoming. And then, as you see others' words, take a moment to witness their commitment. Send them energy. Celebrate their courage. Because in supporting their transformation, you strengthen your own. We rise together. The practical reality. Quantum shifting in everyday life. Let's bring this out of the theoretical and into your actual daily life. Because that's where transformation either happens or doesn't. You wake up tomorrow morning. Your alarm goes off. In that first moment of consciousness, before your brain fully activates its default mode network, you have a choice. You can grab your phone, scroll through social media, flood your consciousness with other people's realities, activate stress responses through news consumption, and spend your precious morning energy reacting to the external world. Or you can claim that first hour for yourself, for your frequency, for your quantum recalibration, for your conscious creation. Which choice aligns with the person you're becoming? You're in a meeting at work. Someone criticizes your idea. Your body tenses. Old patterns of defensiveness or self-doubt begin to activate. Familiar thoughts arise. They don't respect me. I'm not good enough. Why do I even try? In that moment, you have a choice. You can follow those thoughts down the neural pathways worn deep by years of repetition. Or you can pause, take a breath, and consciously choose a different interpretation. This is feedback, not a judgment of my worth. My value doesn't depend on unanimous approval. I choose to remain centered in my knowing. Which choice aligns with the person you're becoming? You check your bank account. The number isn't what you hoped? Your stomach drops. Anxiety begins to rise. The familiar voice in your head starts its litany. You're never going to make it. You're falling behind. You're financially irresponsible. In that moment, you have a choice. You can let that moment define your frequency for the rest of the day, broadcasting lack and fear to the quantum field. Or you can acknowledge the current reality while refusing to let it determine your frequency. This is where I am right now. This is not where I'm going. I trust the process. I maintain my frequency of abundance regardless of current circumstances. Which choice aligns with the person you're becoming? This is quantum shifting in practice, not in isolated meditation sessions, but in every moment, all day long. It's choosing your frequency when circumstances don't support it. It's maintaining coherence when external reality seems to contradict your vision. It's being the person you're becoming even before you have evidence. This is the work, and it's moment by moment, choice by choice, thought by thought. But here's the beautiful thing. Every time you make the aligned choice, you're not just changing that moment. You're rewiring your brain. You're shifting your frequency. You're sending a new signal to the quantum field. And the quantum field, always listening, always responding, begins to reorganize the circumstances of your life to match this new, consistent signal. The quantum paradox, surrendering while creating. Now I need to address something that confuses most people on this path: the paradox of intention and surrender. How do you hold a clear vision while simultaneously releasing attachment to outcomes? How do you create consciously while trusting the universe's timing? How do you take inspired action while remaining in a state of allowing? This is where most manifestation teachings fall apart. They tell you to let go and trust, but also to take massive action. They say detach from outcomes, but also stay focused on your goal. These seem contradictory, and if you approach them from a linear, logical mindset, they are. But quantum physics reveals the resolution to this paradox. In quantum mechanics, there's a principle called complementarity, the idea that a particle can be both a wave and a particle, both localized and non-localized, both determined and probabilistic, depending on how it's observed. These aren't contradictions. They're complementary aspects of a deeper reality. Your role as a conscious creator is the same. You are both the architect and the instrument, the creator and the creation, the one who sets the intention and the one who allows the universe to orchestrate the how. Here's what this looks like in practice. You get crystal clear on what you desire to create. Not the specific form necessarily, but the essence, the feeling, the quality of experience. You ask yourself, what am I actually wanting? Is it the $1 million? Or is it the freedom, security, and possibilities that I believe money will provide? Often, what we think we want is actually a placeholder for a feeling or quality of life. When you identify the essence, freedom, security, love, creative expression, contribution, adventure, you can hold that essence as your quantum intention. Then you embody that essence now. You find ways to feel free now, to feel secure now, to express love now, to create now, to contribute now, to seek adventure now. This is the creation part, consciously generating the frequency of your desired reality. But here's where surrender comes in. You release control over how it manifests. You stop trying to force specific outcomes through specific pathways. You stop manipulating circumstances and people. You stop operating from fear that if I don't make this specific thing happen in this specific way, I won't get what I need. Instead, you trust that the quantum field, with its access to infinite pathways, infinite possibilities, infinite intelligence, knows how to deliver your essence in forms beyond what your limited, linear mind could imagine. You hold the frequency. The universe orchestrates the form. You set the destination. The universe reveals the path. You declare the what and why. The universe handles the how and when. This isn't passive waiting. It's active allowing. It's staying in your frequency while remaining open to inspired action, to unexpected opportunities, to synchronistic encounters that seem to come out of nowhere, but are actually the quantum field's response to your coherent signal. When you're truly in this state, action doesn't feel like effort. It feels like cooperation with a larger intelligence that's working through you and for you simultaneously. The mirror principle: reality as feedback mechanism. Here's something that will accelerate your transformation exponentially. Understanding that every experience in your reality is feedback about your frequency. Not punishment, not reward, feedback. The quantum field is essentially a mirror. It doesn't judge what you're broadcasting, it simply reflects it back to you in the form of experiences, encounters, opportunities, and obstacles. When you understand this principle deeply, everything changes. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start recognizing yourself as the source of your experience. Someone treats you with disrespect? That's not random. That's the universe showing you where you're not respecting yourself, where your frequency is broadcasting unworthiness or tolerance for poor treatment. An opportunity falls through at the last minute? That's not bad luck. That's redirection. Either you weren't truly aligned with that opportunity, or something better aligned is coming, or you needed to learn something about your own resilience and trust first. Money flows in unexpectedly? That's confirmation that your frequency is shifting, that your signal of abundance is being received and matched by the field. This perspective transforms how you relate to everything that happens. Instead of reacting with judgment, this is good, this is bad, you respond with curiosity. What is this reflecting about my current frequency? What is this teaching me? How is this serving my evolution? Even challenging, painful experiences become valuable data points. They're showing you where you still have subconscious blocks, where your frequency isn't coherent, where you're holding resistance or fear or limitation. And here's the empowering part. If reality is a mirror, then you have the power to change what's being reflected. Not by changing the mirror, not by trying to manipulate external circumstances, but by changing what you're broadcasting. When you shift internally, the mirror has no choice but to reflect that shift externally. This is why people who master this principle seem to have magic working in their lives. It's not magic. It's quantum mechanics. They've learned to read the feedback, adjust their frequency accordingly, and maintain coherence long enough for physical reality to reorganize itself. The advanced practice: collapsing time. Now, let's talk about something that seems impossible but is actually grounded in quantum physics: collapsing the time between intention and manifestation. In Newtonian physics, time is linear and absolute. Cause precedes effect. Everything moves at a fixed rate from past to future. But in quantum physics, time is relative and malleable. Einstein proved this. Your experience of time, and actually the rate at which events unfold, is influenced by your state of consciousness and the strength of your electromagnetic field. Studies in quantum biology have shown that biological systems, including human beings, can influence probability and randomness in their environment. When you're in a highly coherent state, heart and brain synchronized, emotions elevated, consciousness focused, you create what's called a strong measurement in quantum terms. Strong measurements collapse wave functions more quickly and definitively than weak measurements. In practical terms, this means the more coherent you are, the faster your intentions manifest. Think about times in your life when things seem to happen impossibly fast, when synchronicities stacked on top of each other, when the perfect opportunity appeared out of nowhere at exactly the right moment, when you thought of someone and they called seconds later. Those weren't coincidences. Those were moments when you were in such strong coherence that you collapsed the wave function rapidly, bringing probability into reality almost instantaneously. You can cultivate this ability deliberately. The practice involves entering a state of such complete embodiment of your desired reality, such total coherence between your thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, and quantum field awareness, that you literally experience time differently. In deep meditation, when you've successfully embodied your future self so completely that your body believes it's happening now, something remarkable occurs. Your brain produces the same electromagnetic patterns it would produce if the experience were actually happening. Your heart generates the same coherent field. Your cells receive the same chemical signals. From the quantum field's perspective, there's no difference between you imagining it and you experiencing it. Both create the same frequency signature. And when you maintain that signature consistently, not just during meditation, but as your baseline state, you create such a strong attractor field that the physical manifestation rushes toward you, collapsing the time between intention and experience. This is how some people manifest in weeks what takes others years, not because they're special or chosen, because they've mastered coherence. They've learned to hold the frequency so consistently, so powerfully, that the quantum field responds with unprecedented speed. The collective dimension, your transformation as service. Here's something beautiful that often gets overlooked in discussions of personal transformation. When you shift your frequency, you don't just change your own life, you change the collective field. Quantum physics has proven that we're all entangled, not metaphorically, but literally. Changes in one part of an entangled system instantaneously affect other parts, regardless of distance. This is called quantum entanglement, and it's been validated in countless experiments. Your consciousness is entangled with the collective consciousness of humanity. When you raise your frequency, you raise the frequency of the entire field, making it easier for others to access higher states. This is why the work you're doing isn't selfish, it's service. Every time you choose love over fear, you make it easier for someone else to make that choice. Every time you maintain your frequency despite circumstances, you strengthen the morphic field of resilience and trust. Every time you embody abundance consciousness, you weaken the collective programming of lack. You are not isolated. You are a node in a vast, interconnected network of consciousness. Your transformation sends ripples through the entire system. Think about the people who've inspired you. Not necessarily famous figures, but individuals who embodied a certain quality that touched something in you. Their frequency called to something in your frequency. They showed you what was possible. They gave you permission to evolve. You are doing that for others right now, whether you realize it or not. Someone is watching how you move through challenges. Someone is noticing the peace you maintain despite chaos. Someone is feeling the shift in your energy and wondering what's changed. Someone is being inspired by your commitment to growth, even though you haven't spoken about it. Your transformation is never just about you. It's about creating pathways for others to follow. It's about raising the ceiling of what's possible. It's about being living proof that conscious reality creation works. This is why I'm so passionate about this work, because I've seen how one person's quantum shift creates permission for 10 others. And those 10 create permission for 100. And those 100 for 1,000. We are in the midst of a collective frequency shift. More people than ever before are waking up to their creative power, questioning consensus reality, exploring consciousness, seeking alignment. You are part of this shift. Your work matters. Your consistency matters. Your willingness to choose your frequency despite external chaos matters. Not just for you, for all of us. The commitment, your quantum contract with yourself. So now we arrive at the moment of decision. Because everything I've shared with you, all the science, all the practices, all the principles, means nothing without commitment. Commitment is the bridge between knowing and becoming, between understanding and embodiment, between possibility and reality. I'm going to ask you to make a commitment right now. Not to me, to yourself, to the person you're becoming, to the reality you're choosing to create. This commitment isn't about perfection. You will have days when you forget, moments when you slip back into old patterns, times when you feel like you're failing. That's part of the process. That's expected. That's human. The commitment is to return, again and again, to recommit when you forget, to choose your frequency when you've lost it, to keep showing up, keep practicing, keep embodying, even when, especially when, you don't see immediate results. Here's what I'm asking you to commit to for the next 90 days. 1. 30 minutes every morning for your quantum recalibration practice. Before phone, before email, before engaging with external reality. This is non-negotiable. This is the foundation. 2. Moment-to-moment awareness throughout your day. Catching yourself in old patterns. Consciously choosing your frequency. Making decisions from your future self, not your past programming. 3. Evening reflection and theta state programming. 5 to 10 minutes reviewing your day with compassion and curiosity, then planting seeds for your subconscious to work with overnight. 4. Weekly assessment. Every 7 days, honestly evaluate. Where am I holding my frequency? Where am I slipping? What am I learning? What's shifting? Where do I need more support? 5. Community engagement. Share your journey. Support others in theirs. Remember that you're not doing this alone. Your frequency affects the collective, and the collective affects you. 90 days. That's all I'm asking. 3 months of consistent, committed practice. Not perfect practice. Committed practice. Because here's what I know from working with thousands of people through this process. If you do this sincerely for 90 days, your life will change so dramatically that you won't need me to convince you to continue. You'll continue because you'll have direct personal evidence that this works. You'll have experienced synchronicities that defy rational explanation. You'll have watched opportunities appear that you couldn't have orchestrated consciously. You'll have felt the shift in your energy and seen the shift in how people respond to you. You'll have witnessed reality reorganizing itself to match your new frequency. And once you've experienced that, once you've tasted what it's like to be a conscious creator rather than an unconscious reactor, there's no going back. Not because you can't, because you won't want to. The invitation. Stepping into your quantum destiny. I want to tell you something that might sound grandiose, but it's true. You weren't drawn to this message by accident. In a universe of infinite content, infinite distractions, infinite possibilities for where you could have placed your attention in this moment, you're here, reading these words, feeling something stir in you. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. That's your future self, already existing in the quantum field, sending a signal back through time, drawing you toward the practices and principles that will allow you to become that version of yourself. Your higher self, the most evolved, actualized version of you, is real. They exist right now as a probability wave in the quantum field, and they're calling to you, inviting you, showing you the path. Every moment you feel inspiration, that's them. Every moment you feel drawn to growth, that's them. Every moment you catch yourself in an old pattern and consciously choose differently, that's you responding to their call. The distance between who you are now and who you're becoming isn't measured in years or achievements. It's measured in frequency, in coherence, in the consistency of your practice. That distance can be crossed in 90 days if you commit fully, or it can remain uncrossed for decades if you approach this casually, half-heartedly, whenever you feel like it. The choice is yours. It's always been yours. That's the beauty and the burden of conscious creation. So I'm extending an invitation. Step fully into your quantum destiny. Stop playing small. Stop waiting for permission. Stop requiring evidence before you believe. Choose your frequency now. Embody your desired reality now. Become the person now. Not because you've achieved certain milestones, not because you've earned it, not because external circumstances support it, but because you understand, truly understand, that you are not separate from the quantum field. You are an expression of it, an individualized point of consciousness with the power to collapse infinite possibility into specific reality. You are a creator, not metaphorically, literally, scientifically, quantum mechanically. The question is, will you claim that power? Will you use it consciously, deliberately, consistently? Or will you continue to create unconsciously, by default, through the accumulated programming of your past? The final truth. You are already whole. Before we close, I need to share something essential, something that will prevent you from approaching this work from a place of lack. You are not broken. You don't need fixing. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with you. Every limitation, every block, every pattern you're working to transform, those aren't evidence of your inadequacy. They're simply outdated software, running programs that made sense at one point, but no longer serve you. You're not trying to become worthy. You're already worthy. You're not trying to become enough. You're already enough. You're not trying to become lovable. You're already lovable. What you're doing is removing the layers of conditioning, programming, and false beliefs that have obscured your inherent wholeness. You're not building something new. You're revealing what's always been there. This is crucial. Because if you approach quantum shifting from a place of, I'm not okay as I am, and I need to change to be acceptable, you're reinforcing the very frequency of lack that you're trying to transcend. Instead, approach it from, I am already whole, and I'm choosing to express different aspects of that wholeness. I'm choosing to align with more expanded versions of myself. I'm choosing to let go of limitations that no longer serve me. Can you feel the difference? One comes from lack. The other comes from abundance. One is effortful. The other is natural. One creates resistance. The other creates flow. Your transformation is not about fixing what's broken. It's about remembering what's true, reclaiming what's yours, expressing what's been waiting inside you all along. You are consciousness itself, temporarily focused through the lens of a human experience, playing with the possibilities of physical reality, learning, growing, evolving, creating. And the reality you're experiencing right now, it's perfect. Not in the sense that it's ideal or that you shouldn't desire change, but perfect in the sense that it's a perfect match for your current frequency, your current programming, your current state of coherence. It's showing you exactly where you are, which means it's showing you exactly what to work with. There's no judgment in that. No shame. No, you should be further along by now. Just data. Just feedback. Just the quantum field reflecting your signal back to you with perfect precision. And now that you have new understanding, new tools, new practices, you can shift that signal. Consciously. Deliberately. Lovingly. The beginning. Your quantum awakening starts now. This isn't the end of something, it's the beginning. The beginning of you as a conscious creator. The beginning of you living from frequency rather than circumstance. The beginning of you experiencing reality as fluid, responsive, and infinitely malleable. Everything I've shared with you is just the framework. The real work, the real transformation, happens in your daily practice. In those morning minutes when you'd rather sleep, in those triggered moments when you'd rather react, in those doubtful days when you'd rather give up. That's where quantum shifting happens. Not in perfect conditions, but in the messy, challenging, beautiful chaos of actual life. So here's what happens next. You finish reading this. You feel inspired, motivated, excited. That feeling is real and valuable. Honor it. But don't let it remain just a feeling. Transform it into commitment, into practice, into embodiment. Start tomorrow morning. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier than usual. Create your sacred space. Begin your practice. And then do it again the next day. And the next. And the next. Track your practice. Journal your experiences. Notice the shifts, subtle at first, then increasingly obvious. Share your journey in the comments below. Write one word that represents your quantum intention. Let that be your declaration, your commitment, your frequency. And if you want to dive deeper, if you want support, guidance, community, and advanced practices, subscribe to this channel. Click that notification bell. Because I'll be releasing more content on specific aspects of quantum shifting, advanced techniques for subconscious reprogramming, practices for maintaining coherence under stress, and real stories of transformation from people who've applied these principles. You're not alone in this. You're part of a global community of conscious creators who are waking up to their power, claiming their frequency, and transforming their reality from the inside out. Together, we're not just changing our individual lives. We're shifting the collective consciousness of humanity. We're proving that another way is possible. We're being the change we wish to see, not just metaphorically, but quantum mechanically. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your quantum awakening. The field is ready. The possibilities are infinite. The only question remaining is, are you ready? Are you ready to stop being a passenger in your own life and become the conscious driver? Are you ready to stop reacting to circumstances and start creating from frequency? Are you ready to release the old identity and embody the new? If your answer is yes, even if it's a trembling, uncertain yes, that's enough. That's all you need to begin. The quantum field doesn't require confidence. It requires commitment. It doesn't need perfection. It needs consistency. It doesn't demand that you believe fully. It simply asks that you practice faithfully. And as you practice, belief comes. Confidence grows. Results appear. Reality shifts. One frequency at a time. One choice at a time. One moment at a time. You are more powerful than you've been taught, more creative than you've been told, more capable than you've believed. The quantum field has been waiting for you to remember, to awaken, to claim your role as conscious creator. That moment is now. this moment, right here. Welcome to your quantum shift. Welcome to conscious creation. Welcome to the most extraordinary adventure of your life. The universe is listening. The field is responding. Your future self is cheering. Now go. Practice, embody, transform, create. And remember, you're not doing this alone. You're supported by quantum mechanics, validated by neuroscience, guided by ancient wisdom, and accompanied by a global community of fellow creators. Your new reality is waiting. Not out there in some distant future. Right here, in the frequency you choose right now. Choose well. Choose consciously. Choose boldly. And watch as reality reorganizes itself to match your quantum signature. This is your time. This is your transformation. This is your quantum destiny. Go claim it. Now, write your one word in the comments. What frequency are you claiming? What reality are you choosing to embody? Share it. Declare it. Let it be your quantum signature from this moment forward.